Then, it touched me. Not to grab, not to eat. It held me. It wrapped its fins around me like arms, and for the first time since I entered this ocean, I stopped falling. It was saving me. The alarm started long before we hit the atmosphere. I knew Kepler 188b was risky. Ocean planet, unpredictable gravity, minimal scan data, but none of us expected this. We were supposed to orbit, run remote probes. Then one flare fried our comms. The second one crippled the engines. I barely had time to eject. Flames, silence, impact. I don't remember the splashdown. Just the jolt of cold water seeping into my suit through micro tears. I floated at first. Then the capsule cracked open. Water rushed in. The surface disappeared above me in seconds. The world went black. I hit something hard, a shelf of stone or coral, then slid over its edge into a pit so deep even light gave up trying. No stars, no sunlight, just the endless fall. I kept waiting to hit bottom. I didn't. My HUD was useless. The compass spun in circles. The sonar showed nothing but static. I tried to move, but pain lanced up my leg and turned my vision white. The bone was definitely broken. One fin twitch of my suit's booster, and I spun like a leaf in a storm. That's when I started talking to myself, anything to keep from panicking. Breathe. Just breathe. This is survivable. This is temporary. It wasn't. At 3% oxygen, the panic gave way to calm. Not peace, not acceptance, just stillness. And then, the lights. 2 round eyes, gentle blue glow, a slow pulse like a heartbeat. It didn't charge, it didn't flee. It watched. And then, like it had all the time in the world, it drifted toward me. I should have been scared. Another species bigger than me, glowing in the deep. But fear didn't come. Only awe. Its skin shimmered, silver scales under patches of jet black and snow white. A strange, soothing pattern, like looking at something familiar through a dream. Panda-like, but sleek, serene. Its fins fluttered once and it hovered beside me, inches away. No bubbles, no noise. Just the water vibrating softly, like it was singing. It looked into my helmet. I swear it did. And I looked back. I raised my arm, slowly, clumsily. The glove trembled. My hand grazed its side. It didn't flinch. Instead, it pressed gently into me, then swam around to cradle my back. The pressure was firm, but gentle. It was lifting me. Not dragging. Lifting. I couldn't feel the weight of my own body anymore. Its fins held me under the arms, its massive tail slowly propelling us upward. And for the first time in hours, I wasn't sinking. I was rising. We broke the surface without a sound. The water around us was perfectly still. Not a wave, not a ripple. The sky above shimmered in violet and green, like an aurora stretched across the entire horizon. No sun, just light, diffuse and dreamlike. I gasped. Real air. Thin but breathable. My helmet had cracked. I hadn't noticed. If we hadn't surfaced when we did, I don't want to think about that. The creature hovered beside me just beneath the surface. Its body moved with slow pulses, its eyes still fixed on mine. I tried to speak. Thank you. The words came out hoarse, broken. It couldn't understand them. Probably, but somehow I think it did. It drifted closer, nosed against my shoulder like a farewell. Then, without warning, it dove. One flick of its tail, and it disappeared into the deep, leaving only stillness in its wake. I was alone again, floating in an alien sea, but I was alive. We moved like one creature. I was limp, helpless, a passenger in my own rescue, but it never let go, not once. It pulsed that strange humming rhythm again, and my suit lights flickered back on. Systems stabilized, not fully, but enough. Oxygen steady at 2%, still low, but no longer falling. The creature turned slightly, guiding us around a rocky outcrop. And that's when I saw it. Structures, not natural, rising from the ocean floor like towers made of coral and bone. They were carved, smooth arches, spirals, even glyphs. Alien language etched into the stone. It wasn't just saving me, it was showing me. I wasn't supposed to see this, no human was. But somehow, It wanted me to. I floated for hours. No land in sight. No capsule. No gear. Just me, my ruined suit, and this endless alien sea. Every few minutes I thought I saw something below. Movement, shadows, glimmers. But nothing came back. Not the creature. Not anything. The cold started to win. I curled my arms around my chest, conserving what warmth I had. I whispered nonsense to myself. The names of constellations, old songs, lines from training manuals. I wasn't ready to die, but I wasn't sure I'd make it. Then, a flash in the sky, bright, controlled, a shuttle. Rescue. I cried. For the first time since the crash, I let go. They saw me. I was going home. But I couldn't stop thinking about the creature. It saved me, and no one was going to believe it was real. They pulled me in with a grappling drone. I was too weak to swim. I remember the light flooding my visor, warm hands dragging me onto the deck, voices I hadn't heard in days. Mira Reyes, status confirmed. Vitals unstable, get her inside. Suits compromised, seal that joint now. I blacked out before I could speak. When I came to, I was strapped to a med bed, IV in my arm, hood above my face, Earth standard gravity. A familiar voice crackled on the intercom. You're safe, Reyes. Just rest. You made it. Safe? Sure. But the thing that haunted me, it wasn't the crash. It wasn't even the drowning. It was that touch. The creature's eyes, the way it held me, and most of all, the ruins, the glyphs, the carved coral. That wasn't just life, it was intelligence. And I knew no one up here would believe a word of it. They grilled me for hours. What hit the ship? What did I see underwater? Any hostiles? Did I touch anything toxic? How long was I submerged? I gave them the facts. Most of them. I told them the pressure nearly killed me, that my suit was wrecked, that I saw strange shapes in the deep, that something large carried me to the surface, that I couldn't identify it. But I didn't say what I knew. I didn't mention the carvings, or the creature's eyes, or how it seemed to understand me. The room was filled with nods and data pads and silent judgment. They wrote me off as trauma delirious. Visual distortions under duress. Prefrontal misfires due to oxygen deprivation. I didn't argue, because I wasn't going to let them go down there. Not until I figured out what that thing really was. Back on station, the silence was louder than ever. No one said it out loud, but I knew what they were thinking. Lucky she didn't drown. Brains still scrambled. Let her recover. Keep her away from command. I let them believe it. Let them log my story as hallucination, as oxygen-starved nonsense. But I didn't rest. At night, I pulled satellite scans of Kepler 108b. I combed through black box data from the wreck. Looked at sonar blips no one paid attention to. There, faint but real, was a heat signature, anomalous, rhythmic, rising from the trench I crashed into, exactly where I met it. It was real, and I knew it wasn't alone. Something was down there, something watching, something waiting, and I had to go back. I submitted a mission request. Exploration, recon, low altitude scan. Solo submersible. It was denied. Too soon. Medical clearance not granted. Risk to hardware exceeds scientific gain. So I stopped asking, and I started building. Over weeks, I modified an unused probe in the lower bays, reinforced the shell, boosted the sensors, wired in my own nav system. I called it Echo. Didn't tell anyone what it was for, didn't ask for help. I wasn't going down there again in a suit, but I was sending my eyes. And if what I saw the first time was real, I needed proof. Here's the next chapter. Time to go deeper. They thought I was running diagnostics. Just a maintenance tech working late hours. No one noticed when I launched the pod. Not even when it left orbit. Echo was small, quiet, fast. It dropped through Kepler's clouds like a silver bullet, piercing the surface with barely a ripple. Then the feed came online. Black water, drifting sediment, that eerie, endless blue. I watched from the lab, breath held, heart pounding. Depth, 2,100 meters. Temp, 3. Quantity, pressure, 230 atmospheres. Nothing yet. Then, movement, faint light, symbols. The same ones I saw carved in coral. Echo hovered near the trench wall and sent a high-frequency ping, and something answered, not a reflection, a response. 3 tones, mathematically spaced. It was language. I recorded everything, frame by frame, ping by ping. The creature emerged seconds later, same shape, same shimmering pattern, but this time there were more. 3, maybe 4, drifting just outside the probe's light range, observing. Echo pulsed another signal. I hadn't programmed that. It was autonomous. The lead creature glowed, not just from bioluminescence. It pulsed in rhythm with Echo, then the screen went white. Static. Cut feed. The pod was gone. One final data point transmitted before the signal died. Location logged. Structure detected. They had taken it, or welcomed it. I didn't feel fear. I felt invited. They knew I was watching, and now they were watching back. Let's go. Mira is done waiting. I couldn't send another drone. This time it had to be me. I used the original excuse, surface retrieval. A black box dive, short, controlled. They approved it. Probably thought I needed closure. I didn't correct them. I boarded the descent capsule alone. Same type that nearly killed me before. But this time I was ready. Reinforced suit. Redundant oxygen tanks. Internal temp regulators. And a beacon frequency Echo used, just in case they were listening. As we dropped, the pressure built again. My ears popped. The walls groaned. Then came the quiet. Black water, miles of it. The trench waiting below. At 2,000 meters, I activated the light. At 2,300, I saw them. They were waiting. This wasn't ruins. It was a city. Sprawling, alive, lit with glowing coral structures and archways that pulsed like breathing lungs. Dozens of the creatures glided between towers. Slow, graceful, deliberate. None came close. Until one did. The same one. I knew it. The same shape. Same eyes. It approached slowly, then turned, inviting me to follow. I did. We swam, through gates between towers, past murals that told stories I couldn't understand. But I felt them. Whales, pandas, trees, stars, fire, Earth, not this one. Ours. This place wasn't just alien, it remembered us. It sang. Not music, not language. Something deeper. Pulses, vibrations, tones that passed through my suit and into my bones. Each note came from the creatures. Their bodies glowed in sync with the sound, like their voices lit the water itself. The one beside me turned slowly, pressed its fins to a stone surface. It lit up, symbols glowing like molten silver, and I heard a voice, not in my ears, in my mind, not words. Images. Oceans rising, worlds drowning, creatures fleeing, DNA stored in capsules, memory passed not in speech but in pattern. They weren't native to Kepler 188b. They were survivors, from Earth, not born of it, but made by it, made by us. My heart was pounding. I tried to speak, but the suit garbled it. Didn't matter. They didn't need language. They surrounded me, not close, not threatening, observing, listening, communicating in a way that didn't need mouths or sound. They showed me more. A lab, Earth tech, capsules, a human hand. Our logo and half-faded one on a crate of biogenetic material. Somewhere long ago we'd left them behind. Maybe we meant to return, maybe we forgot, but they didn't forget us. Their shapes, their patterns, they were born from our archives, our fauna, our memory. And now I was here, not a stranger, a descendant of their origin. Family. Showed me everything, not just what they remembered, but what they feared. The surface, the sky, what came from above, satellites, debris, radiation, warnings, images of Earth, bleeding forests, boiling oceans, silence. They weren't hiding from us. They were protecting themselves from us. And yet, they had saved me twice. I wanted to ask why. I didn't need to. The answer pulsed through the chamber. You are not all the same. They offered me something. A chamber. A place in their city to stay. to learn, to carry their knowledge, to become a bridge between what we were and what they'd become. But I couldn't just disappear. I had a crew, a world above, people still searching, still fighting. I looked at the creature, my rescuer, my guide, and I made the hardest call I've ever made. I left them. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. I swam back alone, lit only by faint pulses behind me. Their farewell wasn't dramatic. No final gesture. Just a calm retreat. A quiet knowing. They trusted me now. I surfaced near the drop pod's beacon, still active, still blinking. Extraction was automatic. The shuttle picked me up. I said nothing. They examined my vitals, my logs. They called it a test run. Wrote it off as deep water observation. But I kept what mattered. The sonar map, the glyph scans, the pulse recordings, and the memory of the only thing that ever looked at me like I belonged. Somewhere I couldn't explain. I didn't bring back a specimen. I brought back a promise. I didn't sleep for days. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw their city, felt the hum in my chest, heard the pulse in my bones. I started decoding the recordings. The sonar patterns weren't random. They were layered. Repeating sequences, variations, music almost. A data scientist on board helped me clean the signal. Thought it was just a weird frequency glitch. Until it spelled something. A diagram, not words. A path. I recognized the layout. A star system, not ours, but reachable. A place they wanted us to see, or maybe avoid. It wasn't just history they'd given me. It was a warning, or a map. And maybe an invitation. Either way, I couldn't ignore it. This was more than survival now. It was purpose. I filed the report, the real one, encrypted, hidden in a personal archive. If anything ever happened to me, it would auto-send to 6 independent servers on Earth. It contained everything. The dive, the creatures, the glyphs, the city, the signal. I knew it might never be read, might get buried. But I had to try. Because this wasn't a ghost story. This wasn't a hallucination. It was proof that we weren't just explorers. We were remembered, respected, feared, even loved. Our creations outlived us. They evolved, and they waited. Now it was our turn to listen, or lose that connection forever. Before we left Kepler orbit, I suited up one last time. No mission, no team, just me. I loaded a capsule with a data core. The message, the recordings, everything I couldn't say aloud. On its shell, I carved one word. Echo. I launched it into the ocean, not to return, not to intrude, just to acknowledge, to let them know I heard them, that someone on the surface understood. The capsule sank slowly into the depths, swallowed by the blue, and as it disappeared, I felt something in the water. A pulse. One long, low note, answering, saying goodbye, or maybe saying, we'll be here, if you come again. Back on Earth, I kept quiet. People moved on, missions changed. Kepler was locked from future drops. Unstable gravity, they said. Low value. But I knew the truth. Sometimes I hear that hum again, not in machines, but in silence. Sometimes I look at the ocean and wonder how many memories we've left behind in the dark. What if we're not alone? What if we never were? And what if, in the quiet, something is still listening, still remembering us, still hoping we'll come back, not as conquerors, but as kin, echo of the deep. End transmission.